So here's a quick look at the Forseti. This is the Lightoller blade or Damascus knife. It's one of those knives that when you look at it first you think, well, it's kind of ever so small and ever so stubby, but actually the word I would use for this knife is plucky. And it's plucky because it sort of punches well above its weight for what it can do. So if you're not used to Forseti's knives themselves, they're made of what's known as Damascus steel, which is a blend of two different steels. I think it's 256 layers that are worked together to create this incredible kind of marbled steel pattern. The two different steels have slightly different properties. One is particularly good at holding a sharp edge, and the other gives it a little bit more flex, because blades that hold their edge tend to be quite brittle. The only downside to this kind of super sharp blade that stays sharp is it needs a little bit of TLC, and I would recommend gently, incredibly lightly oiling it, just so that it's resistant to rust, because unlike stainless steel, this can have a tendency to pick up rust quite quickly if you leave it wet for too long. So you've got a kind of main section. The blade overall is just shy of 2 inches. You can see in my hand how it kind of fits, and then you've got a main part also made of Damascus steel, and then this beautiful rosewood finished handle on the other end as well. If you have a close look, you can actually see the handle's a little bit thicker at this end than it is at this end, so it just sits very comfortably in your hand when you're using it. And it's kind of an ambidextrous knife as well. You can use it either left-handed or right-handed. The liner lock's pretty good. It has a liner lock here which flips up slightly just to lock the blade off. In theory, even though it's quite a stubby blade, you can see what happens is you push with your thumb into the liner lock down there, and it allows the blade to move, so you can close it again. And then, quite unusual for a blade that's quite short, you can, with a bit of practice, open it one-handed as well. So stick your thumb in that little hole and just push, and it locks off again, and you can see that little section there in the middle of the liner just flipping up to just lock the blade off. So although this comes with rather a lovely little leather pouch to keep it in, it's so small and so comfortable. It's one of those things that you can just keep in your pocket relatively easily, with or without. Comes with a really nice wooden box. I've mentioned this before on some of their other knives. It's all about the smell with Forseti. It has a really nice mineral oil smell when they arrive, and they come in a really nice pine box. I've mentioned the leather pouch. They also have a lifetime warranty on their blades. This is very much a kind of high-end knife. The finish on it is very, very good. If you look at the way it's finished against the liner, the way the handle's finished, it's clearly not something that's just factory machined. I would say these are kind of hand finished, and it shows. So they're the kind of knife that make a really good gift, as well as something you use every day. For those of you that still kind of feel like a knife this size isn't really a suitable everyday carry, I think a lot of people have lost their way with everyday carry. And the most useful knife you'll ever own is one that you've always got with you. And so a knife this small will sit in your pocket all day and all night, and it's not uncomfortable to have with you all the time. I think there's a tendency for people to try and get a knife that's absolutely huge. I think there's maybe something Freudian about that, but this isn't so much a camp craft knife. Although you could use it in camp, this is a knife that you literally have on you every single day. So it's fantastic at cutting open boxes and parcels and chopping things down and just cutting things out of the way, as well as slicing in a very precise way. But what I particularly like about it is just how much it holds an incredibly sharp edge. So I was slicing away and cutting up a load of boxes and a load of rubbish and stuff today, and yet it's still sharp enough that it puts a particularly fine cut through paper with that kind of quote-unquote paper test. So that's about it, really. It's named after Lightoller, who was a famous British person in the Navy. He was the highest ranking person to survive the Titanic. He was famously the women and children first on the lifeboats guy, but he was also famous for the Dunkirk evacuation. He took his own small boat across to France to rescue over 100 British servicemen and bring them back under fire. Back to the United Kingdom. So I like the fact that it's named after a plucky Brit, because this is very much a plucky knife. It looks small, and when you first see it amongst some of the other options from Forseti, you may wonder what the point of it is, but actually it punches well above its weight and sits really nicely in your pocket. So there you go, there's a super quick look. This is the Forseti Lightoller Damascus knife.